If you're like me, you take exactly zero pleasure in playing music, but continue to do so because it gets you laid more than any of your other hobbies. I can confidently tell you from experience that being even a mediocre musician will get you more chicks than being awesome at Dungeons & Dragons or Call of Duty. But not all instruments are created equally. Some attract more women than others. In this video, I'm going to tell you which instruments attract the most chicks.
Spoiler alert.
Your beloved kazoo ain't on the list. And I'm going to tell you about the types of girls each instrument tends to attract. So shut off Modern Warfare 3, tell your dungeon master that you're going to be late for today's quest, because we're going to jump right into it. Number 1, electric guitar. If you need a video to tell you that women like guys who play the electric guitar, I'm guessing getting laid isn't your only problem. This one's so obvious, I won't spend much time on it. Everyone knows that lots of women go crazy for guys who play the electric guitar. If it's just numbers you're after, playing the electric guitar will ensure that you steadily add notches to your belt. But if you're trying to attract a certain type of woman, the electric guitar might not be the best choice. It'd be like a fisherman using a 100-foot net to try to catch a striped bass. Sure, he might catch a striper, but he's also going to catch a bunch of flounder and shit. Playing the electric guitar casts a wide net. You're going to land all kinds of women, just like the fisherman caught all kinds of fish. But if you or the fisherman cast too wide of a net for too long, it's just a matter of time until you both catch crabs. Number 2, acoustic guitar. If women who smell like a combination of patchouli oil and finger paint residue mixed with the slight hint of BO turn you on, you're going to want to turn off the electric guitar and pick up an acoustic. Nothing attracts artsy types and hippy-dippy chicks like a dude who isn't afraid to show off his softer side by strumming out folk songs or busting out acoustic power ballads. Now, this might seem counterintuitive. Generally speaking, being a pussy won't get you pussy. Quite the opposite, in fact. But when it comes to the acoustic guitar, if you're trying to bang barefooted bohemian babes, playing sappy, emotionally heavy songs is the way to go. The more of a pussy you feel like playing it, the more her pussy is going to feel like inviting your dick over to play slip and slide. One of the main benefits an acoustic guitar has over an electric, aside from still being able to piss off your neighbors when the power goes out, is that you can take it anywhere. An acoustic guitarist might never look cool standing next to a guy with an electric, but since you're not limited by the length of a cord or a wireless signal, you can just move so you're not next to him anymore. In fact, you can intentionally take your acoustic and go sit next to a guy with like an accordion or something to make yourself look extra cool by comparison. Even if you're a level 3.5 virtuoso with an electric guitar, if you can't convince any chicks to come hear you shred in your parents' basement, you're fucked. By life, not by said chicks. Play an acoustic but can't get any chicks to your house? No problema.
That means no problem in Spanish.
Take the party to their house. Drive your Chevy Malibu to a girl's house, stand outside her window, and start cranking out an acoustic cover of Peter Gabriel's In Your Eyes. As soon as it gets in her ears, she'll let you get in her pants. The last thing that makes the acoustic guitar such a great instrument for picking up chicks is how low everyone's expectation of its players are. When I see a guy with an electric, I want to hear shredding, tapping, soloing, bending, sliding, palm muting, hammering on, hammering off, natural harmonics, artificial harmonics. I want to see what the guy can do. But when I see a guy with an acoustic, I already know what he can do. Strum and maybe fingerpick, because that's all there is to do. No woman is going to see you with your acoustic and expect you to bust out Spanish Fly or a flashy piece by Ewan Dobson or Antoine Dufour. Partly because most women don't know who they are, but mainly because the artistic creative types are attracted to musicians whose playing is sincere and heartfelt, not wild and flashy. So, even if you only know a few chords, grab your acoustic, go sit outside the humanities building at your local community college, and let the paint-covered overall-wearing art students come to you as you strum your way into their hearts and their paint-covered pants. Number 3, bass guitar. If you're trying to bang only the most basic of bitches, buy yourself a bass guitar. These instruments excel at attracting women who are simple, shy, and slutty. Chicks who want to be groupies but are too shy to fuck a lead singer or guitarist love bassists because they check off all the right boxes. They're in a band. They're not some weirdo drummer. Don't worry, I'll get to you spazzes in a minute. They play what looks like a real guitar. And best of all, there's no worrying about having to compete with all the really hot, really slutty girls because those chicks are only after guys with lead in their name. Lead singers, lead guitarists. Ain't no lead bassists. Good bass players know their role and aim for the middle in everything they do. The bass guitar is about as middle of the road as an instrument can get. And if you aim for the middle when it comes to getting laid, you won't be disappointed. There might not be much glory in banging 4s, 5s, and 6s, but it's a lot more fun and a lot less shameful than banging nothing but your head against the wall because you refuse to set realistic expectations. Leave the ultra hotties for the leads, and just be thankful that you might occasionally get to nail a 7. If you're a bass player holding out for a 9 or a 10, assuming your name isn't Flea or Gene Simmons, it's going to be a while. The closest a bass player is ever going to get to fucking a 10 is if he can somehow convince 2 5s to have a threesome with him. I mean, maybe an ultra-smooth talking bassist could trick a really dumb 8 into thinking his instrument is a real guitar and get her into bed, but the only way you and your bass is going to land an 8 is by dropping 8 bills on some trashy trick-turning trollop. Though the bass guitar might not be the best instrument for attracting chicks initially, once they hear you play, they'll love how it makes them feel and keep coming back for more. Women who go for singers and lead guitarists want to feel excitement. Women who go for acoustic players want to feel emotions. But women who go for bassists want to feel your 800-watt amp vibrating underneath them as you slap that low B string over and over. For the same reason chicks love sitting on motorcycles and washing machines, plopping down on top of your amp while you're playing will make them incredibly wet. And then you can bet she'll be all set to give you exactly what you want to get. Perhaps the greatest thing about the bass guitar is how easy it is to learn. We've already established that playing bass attracts basic babes. But the instrument itself attracts basic bros because basically anyone who buys a bass can begin to bust out bass lines before long. As soon as you learn what an eighth note is, you'll be able to play every single song by AC/DC, Van Halen, and every other hard rock band. These boring bass lines might not sound very impressive, but the bass isn't really meant to be heard. It's meant to be felt. So crank that bitch up to 11, begin firing off eighth notes, and as soon as she starts feeling the vibration down there, she'll be eager to let you start feeling her up everywhere. Number 4, drums. Since all drummers are awkward, spazzy weirdos, you wouldn't think they'd attract many women. And they don't. But they do attract some. There's a certain type of woman who goes crazy for drummers. The crazy type. If you like wild, emotionally unstable chicks, then you should be quick to pick up some drumsticks. Though most women will be repulsed watching sweat fly everywhere as you flail around banging on your kit, the few who find your playing sexy will be really turned on by it. These percussion-loving psychos don't want to watch some guy gently strumming chords on a guitar or a singer chirping out heartfelt lyrics to some pussy-ass song. They want to see you rhythmically beating the living shit out of different-sized pieces of metal and plastic. The longer they watch you banging on the drums, the easier banging them becomes. Of all the instruments mentioned thus far, drums attract the fewest women. But the women they do attract are often amongst the hottest and always amongst the craziest. And while crazy women make terrible girlfriends, wives, ex-wives, sisters, mothers, daughters, neighbors, drivers, teachers, and well, just people in general, they do make the best groupies. Why? Because crazy in the head equals crazy in bed. So of all musicians, drummers get to experience the nastiest, kinkiest, freaky-deakiest sex. And often with chicks just as hot as the one lead singers and guitarists regularly reel in. Case in point, Tommy Lee. Based on appearance alone, you wouldn't think any chicks would want this awkward-ass, tall, scrawny, spazzy, fugly-looking dude. But since Tommy Lee is a drummer who plays in some band, he's attracted some of the hottest babes in Hollywood like Pamela Anderson and Heather Locklear, both while in their prime. In fact, he's still banging hotties half his age like his fourth and current wife, even though Tom's now in his 60s. At that age, it probably takes Tommy Lee 4 Viagra in 60 minutes before his famous horse cock is ready to rock. But with a little help from Pfizer, this famous womanizer is still going strong like the Energizer Bunny, using drumming he did over 40 years ago to still attract the honeys. Now, I should be clear that the drummers I'm talking about are rock drummers who play a full kit. These are the only drummers who get chicks. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're a snare drummer in a marching band, a timpanist in a concert band, or the lead triangle player in some triangle trio, you're also going to remain a soloist in the bedroom. Women like rock drummers because of the energy, endurance, and all-around masculinity that beating the fuck out of a drum kit displays. Remember, these are crazy chicks we're talking about. No normal, well-adjusted woman is going to take interest in a guy who plays the drums. If you want a normie, become a plumber. But if you want a freak between the sheets, become a rock drummer. Do you want to show off your love of music with a comfortable, stylish, and affordable t-shirt like this one? How about one of these? Or maybe a mug. You can find all sorts of funny music-related merch at MusicBSharp.com. Whether you're looking for a gift to give a music-loving friend or just want something for yourself you can use to make that friend jealous, at MusicBSharp.com you'll find exactly what you're looking for. MusicBSharp.com. Number 5. Keyboard or piano. There's a lot you can do with over 7 octaves of keys at your fingertips. Few instruments offer the range of emotional expression that a full-size piano does. Though few women express interest in pianists, The ones that do are often nerdy, wordy, flirty, and over the age of 30. Some of them might even be kinda purty. That being said, if your goal is to score with lots of hot young chicks, the piano is one of the worst possible picks. If you've already wasted lots of time learning to play the piano, fortunately some of what you learned is transferable and will make it easier to learn an instrument that actually attracts women, plural, like some sort of guitar. But if you're okay with only attracting one woman every once in a blue moon, the piano is one instrument you can count on. It's also an instrument you can't pick up, turn down, or turn off. So you have to save up and throw down some cash on a keyboard if you want to be able to play out in the hopes of ever getting it in. Though keyboards don't look or sound nearly as good as a grand piano, what they lack in aesthetics, they make up for in portability and practicality. And as an added bonus, keyboardist doesn't sound nearly as close to penis as pianist does. But it doesn't really matter if you're sitting in front of a baby grand piano or in front of a keyboard you spent $1,000 of your baby mama's money on. When a nerdy woman sees your fingers flying up and down the keyboard, she's going to wonder what they'd feel like flying down her pants and up her hoo-ha. Since it takes a certain level of sophistication to appreciate a pianist, these women are often older and of the bookworm sort. So if you're looking for a nerdy MILF who's eager to please, keep fingering those keys and it'll be a breeze getting one of these women on their knees. Number 6, saxophone. This one might surprise you, but the clues are there. Between all the blowing and fingering, this instrument is just overflowing with sexual innuendo. Not to mention the word sax is only one letter away from being sex. And women who are jazz-loving sax nuts are often also jizz-loving sex sluts. So don't despair if you don't care for the big hair, slap and snare, and wacky fanfare you'll find everywhere rock music blares. If you're not a rock pro, but rather a jazz aficionado, go impress jazzy chicks with a saxophone solo. Much like a woman, if you finger a saxophone wrong or press your lips against it the wrong way, it's going to protest by making all sorts of high-pitched squeaks and squeals. But if you can actually play the thing, showing off your improv skills to a woman who loves jazz, assuming they exist, I've never actually met one, will have her dying to show off her improv skills in the bedroom. Since saxophones are made entirely out of brass, you'd think they'd be classified as a brass instrument, but you'd be wrong. The sax is considered a woodwind. And as far as woodwinds go, the sax is by far your best bet for attracting women. It's 10 times sexier than a clarinet, oboe, bassoon, or any other woodwind. But even though the sax might be 10 times more sexy than any other woodwind, it's still 10 times less sexy than even some of the least sexy stringed instruments. Number 7, banjo. I've got some great news for those of you who are attracted to trashy women. White trash, trailer trash, and other trash-talking redneck chicks. There's an instrument that will attract these backwoods babes even faster than the sound of a washboard, jug, and diddly-bow trio. I'm talking about the banjo. Nothing says, look at me, I'm a talented down-home country boy, like a guy who can rock a banjo. Well, not so much rock, more like country, bluegrass, or folk. But guys who are good at really folking up banjos have rows of hillbilly hoes at their shows. They'll come backstage, take off your clothes, and lick you from your head to your toes. Then when you fully arose, they'll expose themselves and you can close. And I suppose you should say sorry when your load blows all over her nose, elbows, toes, and clothes. Although I'm sure she knows you're actually quite proud of your powerful fire hose. If you live in a rural area where 9 out of every 10 vehicles on the road is an American-made pickup truck and the age of consent in your state is like 14, playing the banjo can land you some chicks. But play one in the city and you'll likely catch several kicks to the dick as you get the shit kicked out of you for being a banjo-playing hick. So unless you're after a very specific kind of redneck, hillbilly Joe Spears kind of chick, stick with a tried-and-true panty-wetting pick like the guitar, even if only an acoustic. I could go on and on about using lots of other instruments to pick up chicks, and I will in a future video because it's fun as hell. But what's not fun is the cold hard truth about everything I've been joking about. So if you're just here for the laughs, now's the time to get the fuck out because shit's about to get real. In all honesty, you want to know which instrument will attract the most women? Whichever one you're the most passionate about and the most confident with. While it's true that a very small percentage of women are attracted to guys who play a particular instrument, the vast majority of women don't care what you play, just that you play. Why? Because becoming decent at any instrument shows that you've got passion, discipline, determination, creativity, persistence, and a bunch of other qualities that really wet a woman's whistle.
By whistle, I mean pussy.
So don't choose your instrument based on what you think women will like. Well, unless you are a woman, then it might be a good idea. But for you guys out there trying to get laid, pick whatever instrument you like the most. Women won't care what you play as long as you play your instrument with passion. Well, unless you're passionate about the kazoo. In that case, just go buy yourself a guitar.
You're so annoying. Annoying.
If you like this shirt, it's available in lots of colors and sizes at MusicBSharp.com, along with lots of other funny music-related merch. Link in the description. If you like these videos and want to help support this channel, visit my brand new Patreon page where I'll be adding exclusive bonus content, behind-the-scenes footage, and more. Link also in the description. And if you'd like to hear some of my music, click that link in the description or search for this dude on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever else you listen to music.